Hey, what's up, y'all? How we doing? Tapping in with Hefe. I got Melvin Farmer. You know his name rings bells. But I want to ask you, before we get started, do you have a message that you would like to share with the people?
Well, when it comes to social media and giving back, I really believe until people learn the real meaning and value of true love and loyalty and respect, they will never truly understand the damage of betrayal, disrespect, or heartache. So we cover all these areas where we're just trying to put a shed of light to give back to our community and talk and give you something positive to listen to as opposed to all the negativity that go on the internet, whether it be hip-hop, senseless gun violence, police brutality, the criminal justice system. So I'm glad we're here today to give a young perspective and an older perspective. So let's make this happen, man. Roll the camera.
Yeah, let's
make it pop.
Yeah. So first thing I want to get into is all of the positive stuff that you may have done that maybe my viewers may or may not be familiar with. So first thing was I had seen something with you in the paper about you helped the 3 strikes reform or something like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know when the 3 strikes law came out in 1994, March 7th. I was arrested around March 11th with the pizza man that stole the pizza for $5 or something. And we all were facing a life sentence. In my case, I was facing 25 years to life for $2 worth of drugs, which I was found guilty of and was one of the first to be sentenced up under the California 3 strikes law in 1994, March 7th. I filed an appeal, fought my conviction because of illegal no-knock notice, the same thing that got Breonna Taylor killed. They was running in this house to kill me. So this is also, as you'll see later on in the other things that we talk about, the importance of being able to appeal a case once you've gotten a life sentence. You'll hear me state that you can always appeal a life sentence and get it reduced, or in my case, dismissed. So man gave me life, but God gave me a new life to where I get to sit and talk in front of you instead of to be talking behind a jail cell. So in 1998, October, after almost serving 3 years, 8 or 9 months on a 25 to life sentence plus a 10-year consecutive sentence, so if I died and came back, or older 10 more years, I was released as the first one under the California 3 strikes law in the United States to ever be released up under the California 3 strikes law. And before I left, the inmates said, never forget about us, fight for us. So I got out and I wrote a book in 6 hours called The New Slave Ship, a ship that doesn't sail, addressing the prison industrial complex and the 3 strikes you in, not outlaw. And from there, I joined an organization called CATS, Californians to Amend 3 Strikes, and FACTS, Family to Amend California 3 Strikes. These were the first 2 organizations in the history to ever fight the 3 strikes law with family members. So I was proud to be a member because I was the first one out. I got a chance to debate Mike Reynolds in Fresno, in the Fresno Bee and all other articles. So then I went from there to where I hooked up and I started an organization in about 99 called NAPA, National Alliance for Positive Action. And I had another one called PAPA, acronym, Parents Against Public Abuse. Now we're addressing senseless gun violence, whether it be by friend, family, or foe, or even law enforcement that are here to serve and protect you. And these are high-profile cases. One of the first ones I remember with me, Najee Ali, Earl Afari Hutchinson, who you see there with the Al Sharpton's East Coast Action Network Committee with Jesse Jackson in them. We had a young lady named Margaret Laverne Mitchell, a homeless lady, age 56 years old, that was homeless because of the financial crisis where she lost her job. She wasn't on drugs. So law enforcement tried to take her basket, and she pulled out a screwdriver about 50 feet away, and they shot and killed her. We felt that was injustice, so we formed the Margaret Laverne Mitchell Coalition, and Leo Terrell that you see on Hannity and Combs, we got him as an attorney, and we got that family about $500,000 in 2000. Then after that, I did the Taisha Miller Steering Committee I was on. That's the young lady that got killed in Riverside with Vernell Butler as the spokesperson. Latasha Harden, the little young lady that got killed over stealing some candy on 92nd and Hoover by the Korean. Then I did Sharice Iverson, that's the young lady that was killed at the Prima Donna Hotel, where she was raped in the bathroom by Jeremy Strohmeyer. So I also was on tour speaking at black colleges. I hosted a radio show in Washington, D.C. called the Mo Better Man Blues Thrill. I fought for the death penalty. So I've been doing a lot of things. I won more awards in Los Angeles than Nipsey Hussle and anybody else you want to name when it comes to community service in the city. I've been doing civil rights for over 28 years now, major cases. I've been the subject of interviews from Germany where they send them over to see what makes Melvin tick. I've been a former gang member, started off at 14 as a West Side Crip. In 1971, I lived to be where I can tell you the story of that, and not in a way to where I'm bragging, but just to tell other youths and kids that are going down the path I'm going down. I can tell you what's gonna happen. My past is a lot of you guys' future, so I don't want to see nobody like I met you, but if I know your daddy, don't I? People don't go through that to where they'll meet you. But because of my association, I know your daddy. So how would you think if you got killed and then your daddy know Melvin founded A-Trade and he say, but Melvin, your set killed my son. Y'all don't go through that. See how deep this can get?
Man.
The one constant about gangbanging, not gang members, is you talking about murder. So when these guys come in here that can come in here with tattoos, making a rap song, wearing their pants, acting, rapping, and acting and entertaining, I pay no attention to them because they're gang members, not bad guys, and just exploiting the culture of those that made mistakes to where it look like we're the ones that are advocating this is cool, when in fact the entertainment, social media, they are the ones responsible for the images. You don't hear us talking about killing or nothing. We're talking about what we can do to make sure you don't do the shit we do. Mm-hmm. So that's the game we up on. That's what we play. That's about Get Out. I also participated in the LA Gangs Unite. See, people think, you think because Nipsey Hussle got killed, a war that went on 80 years stopped because of him? No, somebody had to have some type of dialogue going on with him. That was me. But a lot of people that know this, why I got to say it, tell them I did that. Then we had, I've been on BET, Old Drama, debating Ariel. We had a show called From Banging to Platinum, Warren G, Monster Cody, I set that up. A lot of people didn't know I helped open up Revolt TV with Puff Daddy. I'm one of the first guests in 2014. I've been on Vlad, I've been on a lot of this stuff, but most of my work is done where it's real news in a newspaper article, on Nightline, on Dateline, the Chicago Tribune, the Washington Post, the Atlantic Journal, all these type of newspapers. So I make news. I don't report news. Everybody on the internet right now is reporting shit.
Speaking of like reporting, not meaning to cut you off, but
no problem.
This generation of basically urban culture, you know, I go to very few outlets to get, you know, certain information, and it's mainly either No Jumper or Vlad TV or Say Cheese. When people go onto these platforms and they start speaking about their own issues or stuff they might be involved in, do you think it's fair for people to put the blame on the media outlet, or should the person that's speaking just, should it go that way?
No, because it really comes down to careless listeners. A lot of things that being said, when you host shows, you should be a fair arbitrator to where when you listen it, you don't put titles on somebody, oh, this is such and such, or this, you just called it like what you see. That's the mark of a fair interviewer, but also to know the questions and the answers of the one you're interviewing. So when I look and I see people on the internet, I don't blame those that are hosting it, but what I do blame is the impartiality in which it's broadcast to where only one person can speak and there's nobody there to sit and refute them. So you're basically running a monopoly. There's a lot of things up here being said that aren't true, aren't factual, but people are listening. It's like lip boxing, tongue wrestling, and verbal gymnastics going on in here. So I don't look at it as the host fault when it comes to the contents that are displayed on the internet. But I do take fault in you have people that are not being fact-checked that are leading the internet parade with false narratives. And then you'll sit and disparage and talk about somebody. You see Charleston Wright run his mouth about me, but why it ain't the platform for me to respond where we face to face?
But yeah. So my one question I've been wanting to ask you is, when you went to Texas and you and Ayatollah
Marvin.
Yeah.
And Charleston White.
Yeah, you
on
got
Boss Talk 101, and y'all check that show out also. It's popping.
Why did he walk away? Because from my perspective, you was having a casual conversation. You was a gentleman about it. You wasn't over the top yelling at him or nothing. And I don't remember exactly what you said, but you said something, and he just got.
I said
you're not.
debate.
No debate. You're not going to be talking about Nipsey or something. It was
Nipsey Hussle, Monster Cody, Stanley Took It, William, or anybody when it come to Los Angeles because of the fact you met people through me.
Yeah. Okay.
So people don't realize that. So let me tell you what happened at that situation. If you look at the videos prior to that, everything he was saying when he was starting to come up, he was using my name as a co-signer, Melvin Farmer, and making it look like I agree to that. When he say, fuck Nipsey Hussle, fuck the Crips, because I'm getting calls. He said, fuck my little Sodi's child that was killed, burnt up in a fire. And I get calls from all them complaining about Melvin. You know him, and he's talking about us. So when we went to Texas, it was because Marv had a problem with him talking about Buntry that had got killed from Death Row. Buntry, Suge them boy.
Mob Jim's brother?
Yeah, so Marv tell me, Melvin, I want to go to Texas and check him. And I know UNC, we still cool at this time. So Charleston White really set up the meeting by having Boss Talk call me and say, Melvin is the one you need to talk to in L.A. He's the real mover and shaker because he get along with everybody. So when we go to do the show, now I'm hearing him talk all this shit. So my face is on the line. So I meet him outside and I hug him, but I pat him down to make sure he ain't got no wire or a pistol. And so I tell him before we go into the show, bro, don't get on here. You can't sit and talk about Nipsey Hussle and say people fuck them in front of me. And you met these people. You went to Nipsey Hussle through me. You met Babalu through me. You've been on radio and television through me. You can't do that, bro. And so he just looked. So before the show started, Marv and him hadn't said nan word. And in fact, I wasn't even supposed to be on the panel because Marv had written out questions to ask Charleston about shit like fuck Farrakhan and all this and that. But he, the host, he say, Melvin, we want you in here. So I tell him, like I told you earlier, how to open the show. Ain't that what I did? Mm-hmm. And we running perfect. I know what to say to start a show. I've been producing real shows since 1999. So anyway, I say, why don't you open with me? and I set the guidelines for the dialogue. With no disrespecting nobody, you just sit, talk about what you got, and answer question and answer. It was simple. But I said, let me set the ground rules, because I know both parties equally. So I was going to basically turn into a host. But instead, he went to Charleston White, and what Charleston started off, fuck this, I'm a shock jock. I don't give a fuck about no shock jock or no other shit like that, nigga. Don't matter to me, damn motherfucking bit. But the fact that you met people through me, and I helped you, and you think you king shit, I put you on your back. But I didn't say that. I let him speak. So all I was going to see, what I'm going to say is there's no debate. And when you really look at it, there was no debate. He left. Just like it ain't going to be no debate about these testimonies and transcripts we talked about. I'm 2-0. The first time,
Wait. These testimonies and transcripts, you talking about Charleston White? Like
yeah.
The paperwork on Charleston White?
Well, you know, it was released today on Cam Capone that Melvin Farmer
I seen that.
Brought out paperwork saying that Charleston White had an agreement to give material witness in the Antoine Doolittle murder case. And so, yes, that's true. So back to what was happening with Charleston White, at the end of the day, what I think occurred that made him go out is, once he's kept and couldn't bicker, once again, because he's being confronted. He can't say what he say, because I'm going to make it into whether, you can't beat me talking about no hipsy hustle. You can't say, oh man, fuck the Crips and lyrics and music. We've been done that. I did what's in the first anti-gang video ever in history, right after Nothing But Self-Destruction by Boogie Down Production. I was part of Grand Jury Records, one of the first, back when NWA, Eazy-E, Doc, DOC, Ice Cube, Yo-Yo, any of them that was exactly Ice-T, MC Hammer, Humpty, Trey 5-7, Tone Loc, Young MC, Dr. Dre was just coming out. All these guys was on this, and they were the top line, like the Dre's and Lil Wayne's, and those are on that status today, the Beyoncé's. Back in 1989-90, we already was in the game, because I was one of the official ones of Grand Jury Records with Michael Conception. So at the end of the day, we had been in this shit, man. So Charleston White go and do that, but at the end of the day, I really believe that he knew once he got out of acting, I said whatever character he in, that he was going to have to answer some tough questions to where I don't think he could have stood up to me in no type of debate, because I don't see so much shit to where amateurs don't know what to say because they ain't lived this life, to where when he be, like we can start off with accomplishments. You don't have no organization. Never got a penny doing nothing. He say he make laws. He haven't made no laws. You see, I make laws. I'm in the newspaper with all kind of pictures from 20,000. Correct?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, that's another thing. Leading up to this interview, I try to do as much research as I can, other than like, you know, the stuff that people have already spoke about, like your gang history. So I wanted to dig deep, and I seen something that you was at the 2016 National Gang Summit, and you introduced a bill. It looks like you was holding it in the picture, like some sort of bill you introduced in 2016.
That was at the Rayburn building. That's Congress in Washington, D.C., and I was talking about a bill up under the California Three Strikes Law where I was lobbying in this case. The other one went to voter registration, where if you've ever written a bill, you would be up what they call a political action committee, PAC. Those that say they wrote bills that I see on television, and I fight that, they haven't wrote no bill, because it'll have your author's name on it, just as you see that newspaper clipping with 100 mics around me. Because I wrote that bill. That's a state issue. So I also was at the 2016 summit, and this for people that made the statement, oh, he can't hang around no mayors. I done been around mayors, Homeland Security, and everything else where they paid me to speak or hear what the hell we got to say. And then the one you talking about, that's 2016 that occurred in Columbus, Ohio, where me and Sean Stevenson, Mr. Stop the Violence, in Columbus, Ohio, they mayor Gentry, and anybody that know about politics, Ohio is the #1 place for the barometer for the Hillary Clintons, the Bidens, the Obamas. That's their backyard, not Washington, D.C. So what occurs in Columbus, Ohio dictates who the president of the United States. So anyway, they wanted to put a summit together where I had 3 choices and Sean had 3 choices where we were addressing senseless gun violence, but on a major level. His 2 choices was King Tone of the Latin Kings from New York and Antonio Testra from the Luciano Gambino crime family in New York. His daddy is Antonio Testra, and look up the Gemini twins. They have over 51 murders for the mafia. That's who he picked. I picked Ayatollah Marvin and Chairman Fred Hampton. And that's the pictures you see with us all standing around together around the mayor and Mr. Brown, the head of public safety. We was on a tour addressing senseless gun violence where we were brought out there, paid amount of money to speak at the youth. They held an auditorium, we held a town hall meeting. So that was an epic event to where people didn't think that could happen. The LA Gangs Unite, when Big U and them, that was me on there. When Snoop made Bloods and Crips right after that, you'll see me prominently in there. We was in the first gang intervention ever in the United States, which was called the Long Table in 1977, part of the 1992 truce, part of the LA riots. I've been through all that where I personally was involved as far as bringing awareness to it. So yes, I got a pretty good history.
Okay. That's dope. That's dope. Very, very positive. That's awesome.